Hey there, I'm Sal D'Alia, the brand content lead for AdoramaTV, and you're just tuning in to Behind the Beat, where we explore how to create high-quality music videos on a budget. In each episode, I'll share practical tips and tricks to elevate your video production and impress your audience. Whether you're flying solo or rolling with a crew, you can always think big and stretch that budget. In previous episodes, I went through the production of a $4,000 budget video and a $2,000 budget video. So in these episodes, I'll break down the production of a video with no budget. How can you achieve good cinematic quality using the location you have around you and the gear you carry with you every day? The artist featured in the video is Naomi, who has a big following on TikTok where she performs songs with her beautiful and intimate voice. The song we will execute is called Tree Frogs and Nicotine. Naomi wrote this with her friend Sam, who will also be in the music video.
Tree frogs and nicotine, smoking a cigarette down by the creek, a mushroom chocolate, a little bit of weed, watching the minnows swim downstream.
My first call with Naomi was to talk about the song, the meaning and the vibe she wants to have for the video. She sent me a few pictures with Pinterest, and from the very beginning it was clear that we wanted an outdoor vibe, possibly in the woods, but definitely a location with a creek and trees. She's based in Los Angeles while I'm in New York, so to save on budget, the best way is to shoot with her while I'll be in Los Angeles on another assignment. In July, I was invited by Sony to the Summer House, an event for their audio ambassadors. At this event, I would take portraits of all the ambassadors, and one of them is Naomi, a perfect chance for us to shoot the music video. We planned to drive from the Summer House in Beverly Hills to a nearby park, everything within a couple of hours, so to not miss any of the events that Sony planned for their ambassadors. Whenever you are in an area you don't know and are looking for location to shoot, Google Maps might be your best friend. You can use the satellite photos and any visuals from the users to take a peek at the location before even stepping out of your home. In our case, it was easy to find an area with a lake and rivers and creeks nearby. We drove to Franklin Canyon Park, just 17 minutes from the Summer House, and scouted for a good spot where to shoot the music video. Naomi's request was to have a creek, nature, and possibly frogs to avoid using stock footage. We were able to find all three elements in the same area. We even found a turtle in the creek and took few shots that ended up in the final cut. Finding a location this way can be applied to wherever you are in the world. You just have to be careful of the surroundings, local regulations, and always be prepared for possible problems. In our case, it was essential to have a bug spray, move around with light gear, and choose a spot where the light was even and flattering for my subject. I actually ended up scratching off the first location we picked, because there was not enough space between the camera and the subject. The first rule to make your video look cinematic and high-end instead of low budget is to create depth in your images. And the best way to do it is with tele and prime lenses. I will use the 70-200 even to shoot the wide shot of my video. This way, the subjects and the nature around them will be compressed and will create a rich and cinematic image. With these lenses, you can also play better with foreground element. Look at my wide shot, for example. Without the foreground element, you wouldn't have the effect of framing around the subject, and they will look too far away to connect with the audience. These type of details will help the audience immerse even more into the performance. After fighting some spider webs, we found our location. It might be hard to secure the gear, but once you do, you can shoot almost all the footage you need. Usually for a shoot like this, I would prefer to do a multi-camera. Shoot the performance 2 or 3 times with different angles, that way the edit will be seamless. Light won't change, and it will be easier for the artist. But in the spirit of this format, I had to keep everything low budget, so one camera is the only way to go. I asked the artist to perform around 6-7 times. You always start with a wide angle. That way the lip-syncing mistakes are less visible. And then you close in on them to capture the more emotional performance.
Oh, it's so gorgeous.
You always have to compromise something. Like in this case, Sam didn't have his own guitar, so he had to borrow one. And the only available was a right-handed guitar, but it's left-handed. That means that his guitar sync is not super tight, so I can't stay for too long or too close to the detail of the fingers. The solution is to get more B-roll to cut with the performance. In music video, the B-roll is not there just to tell the story. Often it's used to help the rhythm or fill in gaps, or maybe issues with the performances of the artist. It could be as easy as a fly or a mosquito passing in front of the artist that you didn't catch on set and now you don't want to use that shot. Then you use B-roll to cover that section. Naomi's description of the song was an anthem to friendship, a way to cherish small and meaningful moments, like being by the creek with a friend, looking at frogs. So the focus for the B-roll was on the two of them interacting by the creek, then the nature around them, including the frogs. And last but not least, a nice slow motion dance barefoot. Something that really embodies Naomi's spirit and personality.
Yes! Sick!
Once the shoot was done, it was time to edit and color. I edited the video like a multicam by syncing all the footage with the main track and then start selecting the best shot on every single beat. After a couple of drafts and notes from Naomi, I ended up with the final cut. At this point, the only thing to be careful in the color correction process is the amount of green you have done as skin tones, which is very common when you shoot in the woods. The light reflection will give a green tint to any subjects, so you always have to start balancing that out when shooting in these environments. After that, it's up to your taste where to push with the color, saturation, and contrast. I shoot everything in S-Log3 Cine, which gives you the best dynamic range on Sony cameras. Extremely useful in this environment where the highlights and the shadow can have several stops of light between them. You want to be able to retain as many information both in the highlights and in the shadows. That will be all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the insights. If you have any question, please leave it in the comments section. I hope to see you again in the next episode of Behind the Beat.
Tree frogs and nicotine.